The wind, it is blowing today, quite a bit. But we're not here playing Wind Waker, we're here finishing up the last of Colosseum, or mostly the last of Colosseum. We'll get into that a bit later, as to why specifically that's not the case. But for purifying all the Shadow Pokemon, we're absolutely doing that tonight. Welcome back to the sensation that's sweeping the nation, stealing other people's things, otherwise known as Pokemon Colosseum. So, when last we spoke, I was underleveled. Not by a lot, thankfully, but yeah, was absolutely underleveled. So, not much has changed, but a few things have changed here. First and foremost, these are what our levels look like. We are now all 66 across the board. The Colosseums that we're going to be tackling today, at highest, the Pokemon get to level 70, so I am not over-leveled by any stretch of the imagination. But considering I was sitting at, like, high 50s, low 60s, yeah, the 6 to 7 levels that I picked up were probably needed. So, we're good on that front. The only new moves that anybody tried to learn were Quagsire, and it tried to learn both Mist and Defog. Both at level 61, I passed on both of those moves. Other than that, the team comp is exactly the same, so there's no need to worry about that. Secondly, I have also lowered the heart gauges completely for the Shadow Pokemon that we currently have, Bayleaf, Croconaw, Smeargle, and Ursaring. So, we're going to start by purifying those. In the case of the two starters, they will have the hold item that will boost whatever type they are for their moves. So Mystic Water for Croconaw, and Miracle Seed for Bayleaf. So I will take those off, as well as anything that Smeargle or Ursaring might have, though I don't think they have anything, but I'll grab those as well. So we'll start by purifying those, and then that will leave us with 2 Shadow Pokemon left in the game. I do have a list of all the things to go over and pick up. There's not too terribly much left, so it's not going to be like a huge bombardment of notes like it was a couple episodes ago, where I had to go over all the Colosseums, what items they gave, that kind of thing. I used the walking trick, and I'll show that off again for anybody that missed it. I just used the walking trick to get all these guys purified, so none of them are going to have any experience points. They're just going to get purified, get their first move back from whatever Shadow Rush will get replaced by, get the ribbon, and then we'll move on. Rain Dance. Maybe one of these days when I play, I'll take Croconaw over Quilava. The problem is, in particular, there's not a lot of good fire types. Like, Quagsire and Quillfish have been pretty solid, but, like, I don't want to use Slugma. Like, ew. It seems to be a recurring problem in a lot of the Pokemon games, that there's just not a lot of good fire types. Like, if you don't pick the starter, you're just in trouble. Like, if you don't pick the Combusken line, you're stuck with either, like, Torkoal, Slugma, or, like, one other Pokemon that's not very good. If you don't pick Chimchar, you're stuck with the Ponyta line and, like, one other, and that's it. And it's probably because, like, it's not as required as, say, like, a water type in the main games. Because you're going to need Surf, obviously. So, at least in the older games, you're going to need Surf. So, I guess I see why, because there's not any, like, fire-based HM that you need. It's all stuff that's typically either normal, ground, or water. But the point still stands. There's not a lot of good options for fire types as a result, and I feel like that's part of the reason a lot of people like choosing them. Oh, right, I was going to take those items off. Let's do that first. Miracle Seed and Mystic Water. I don't have any use for the Miracle Seed, obviously, on my team, because I don't even have any Grass-type moves, let alone Grass-type Pokemon. The Miracle Water could come in handy if I want to swap that out for the Soft Sand or the Poison Barb. I think I'm going to keep them with what they've got, though. Because I've got 2 water types with water moves, I don't want to power up the water moves as much as I do the ground and the poison that are a little bit more limited across my team. So I think I'm going to leave them with what they've got in that regard. Because, yeah, everybody's using what powers up their specific attack moves other than Ampharos, which has the Quick Claw. I probably don't need to do this, but just for the sake of saying I've got it. We do also technically have a Time Flute left, so we could purify one of the Shadow Pokemon that way. So if one of the two that I'm thinking which one it will be takes a particularly long time compared to the other, then simply put, we'll just use the Time Flute on the other one. We're not going to be picking up a lot of items or anything. I just don't like having too terribly many things because of limited inventory slots. Let's go ahead and save. 46 caught, 46 purified, 2 to go, 70 hours of gameplay, almost all due to purification and level grinding, but that's neither here nor there. So, where do we go from here? The answer is, we go to Fnac. Namely because I wanted to show something off there. I'm not actually going to partake in it because there's no real reason to, but I do want to show it off for the sake of showing it off. Not too terribly important, probably no one will need it, but it is here if you do want to partake. And that is, if you did not catch the very first Shadow Pokemon that was available to you in the main story, which was Makuhita, even though I think it's a guaranteed catch, so like how would you possibly miss that? I don't know. But, if you did, Trudley and Folly are both here. You can battle both of these guys. They will have fully evolved Pokemon mid-50s. It will be their evolved Whismur and Loudred now into Exploud and Ludicolo. But they are available. The Makuhita will be there as well if you did not pick it up and need to catch it. So it is available. However, that is not what we're headed to today. That's just a little thing I wanted to show off. There we go. That's true. Certain gens do have Growlithe and Arcanine, or depending on the version of Vulpix Ninetales. I'd personally advocate for Growlithe. I like Growlithe more, but that's personal preference. Well, I'll answer that when I'm not stuck on this UFO. Even though it's totally identified, so, like, I don't think I'd call it a UFO, but regardless, we've got mail. Hi, it's Bet in the Under. I was taking photos the other day when I saw this guy with this amazing head, so I snapped him. Pretty sure that's illegal. He was singing this weird song about how the Colosseum being his new place. And the picture, you guessed it, Miror B. I think you get that just once you come to the Under. Again, if you did not fight Gonzap, you do need to fight him in the Snag'em hideout to get the necessary D-Disc, which will move the UFO down. And with that, we can move Rui out of the way, for one. But we can also head down, finally, into the Deep Under. There's not really that much here, other than the Colosseum. But as you can see, we found one Steel Teeth. Phenomenal grammar right there. Found a Steel Teeth. So this is why if you're choosing between, like, A or and, just go with the. Found the Steel Teeth. Like, just always go with the. Go with your definite articles, for God's sake. And if you need to know where to look to give the Steel Teeth away, thankfully you don't have to look very far. In fact, we ain't even leaving the area. I don't remember if I talked to this guy at any point. I think I did at least at one point, but I didn't really make mention of him. Hand over the Steel Teeth to the old man. I mean, they've been laying on the ground for God knows how long, but if you want to just pop them in, go for it. Pokemon Pikachu picked a peck of Pokeballs. Ah, no more air leakage. I can finally talk normally again. Your savior, I thank you for your kindness. Perhaps it's not much of a thanks, but I'd like you to have this. The almighty L disc that we've been waiting much too long for. Told you wouldn't get this in the main game. But yes, we can now move finally on the UFO in every single direction. Forward, left, right, down, and up. Those are all the discs available in the entirety of the game. And for all the fans of the OCD world out there, not only will we put them all at the top, we'll even put them in alphabetical order. How about that? That's probably the most we've messed around with this UFO, which is really funny. Because you pretty much just always set it to forward, except for when you're going to fight Venus, and then after you get to a certain point in there, you unlock a door and you can just go through the under Colosseum and just go through that way, so you don't even need to use the right one anymore. You only need to use the up one once to get the time flute, and that's it, then you leave. Same with the L one, because at long last you get the Amulet Coin. Little late to take advantage of that. I think I'll stick to the Ruby Sapphire Emerald version where you get it after beating your dad, where it's at least semi-usable. That game does a lot better with the EXP share and the Amulet Coin both, but oh well. But for those not in the know, the Amulet Coin will double your money in battle if the Pokemon holding it takes part in the battle. That's it. Like, they can get thrown out right at the start, absolutely annihilated by a critical hit, and if you win the battle, you will still get double prize money. A very good item to have in general, also a phenomenal item if you just don't have anything to put on a specific Pokemon, you don't know what to use, nothing in particular is really standing out. Sure, throw the Amulet Coin on there. Perfect. Right, and I think at this point, yep, we are ready to tackle the Deep Under. Prepare to see how phenomenally large this place is. Yep, this is it. A heal station, a center, like pretty much the inside of a Colosseum, nothing more. We'll go ahead and save so I don't have to do all that mess again. And we'll continue on our merry adventure. The Minor Colosseum is built on a former quarry. It's underground in every sense of the word. Cypher admins are filing their thanks for you. I mean, it was already underground, sort of, with the Under as it was. This is just more underground than it previously was. I'm debating in my head. Give me a sec. Yeah, just leave it as it is. It's fine. So yes, we have more Colosseum challenges, unlike the ones for the Under, however, where I showed the Under off just because it'd give you an idea of how the Colosseum works, etc. It is actually important to 100%ing the game outside of the TMs this time. I also love how this looks with, like, it's not really low relative to, like, the height of the characters, but the low ceilings, how it looks, like, I love the look of this one, too. It's not as good to me as Fnac or the Under, but it is definitely better than Pyrites. Zangoose, I want it. I need it. I don't actually need it, but we'll save that for XD when I inevitably pick it up. Where they tease you by not being able to get it multiple times in the game. Oh well. So yes, despite it being some super secret hidden location, it does function like every other Colosseum. You will get healed between battles. It will be a set of 4 battles, rounds 1 and 2, the semi-final and the final. Put your hands up. There we go. So while we go with this interesting little show, I don't know what you want to call it. It's mostly just sitting here flying through fights. How's everybody else been doing in the day since we last spoke? It's been so long. Haven't seen y'all in ages, clearly. See you later, banana beard. The banana beard part of that just looks so stupid. I get it's a palm tree, so you put like a fruit on it, but like... It looks dumb. Critical hit. It's not very effective. Oh, it's one of those attacks multiple. I'm like, I would have gone for Quagsire since it would have actually been normal effectiveness, but yeah, nope, it goes after both. And now after mudding up his wonderfully pristine, mostly white coat. Sorry, Zangers. All we've got left is our Nuzleaf. I keep wanting to do Earthquake Protect, but it's just not viable, because with Banana Beard out, it was flying type, so it wouldn't take the damage. And now there's not much point in doing Earthquake Protect when I could just hit him twice and just do more damage overall. This is, yeah. So, the reason that I mentioned while we're going through this, the reason why that I mentioned this is going to be, at least for the Shadow Pokemon, the last episode, but might not necessarily be, is because of some of the bonus features of this game. I guess we can go ahead and talk about the extra things. If you've watched Chugga Connor's LP, you probably already know all this, but we can go over it now, because some of it I'm not going to show off. One thing I will, because I'm actually capable of doing so, but the other... One of them I'm not, and one of them I'd have to wait several days and don't feel like doing that or ordering the disc necessary for it. But there are some additional things to mention off. First of all, the bonus discs for this game where you can get additional Pokemon. There are two different versions of this. There are... Let's do the Protect Earthquake now. There is the Japanese one, and then there is the American/US version. Which I don't remember if Europe got that or not. It's not important, though. In both cases, if you pre-ordered the game Pokemon Colosseum in Japan, you would get a bonus disc. And after purifying all 48 of the Pokemon, the Shadow Pokemon, you have to catch them all, have to purify them all, you can save your game and put in this bonus disc. It will register from your memory card that you've done all that. And you are able to get a Celebi. Which, at the point in time that this was released, getting a Celebi was, to put it politely, a giant pain in the ass. In particular for the US, like, there wasn't really that many options to actually pick one up. So you could get a Celebi from that. And it would transfer over to your game, you get the idea. In the US version, it was actually opposite. We got one that is a little bit easier to get here, but in Japan it's extremely difficult to get, and that is Jirachi. The requirements for it are exactly the same, purifying all the Shadow Pokemon, catching all the Shadow Pokemon, of course, to do that. It would read your game, and it would give you a Jirachi. I obviously do not have the bonus disc for either of those, but I figured it was worth, at the very least, mentioning that it is possible to get additional legendary Pokemon in this game. And now I have to sit here waiting for Hariyama to not get killed by this. I know it would make Endure less broken, but I feel like Endure, like, in a double battle, because it leaves you with 1 health, I feel like if you get attacked twice like that, it should let you endure the first hit, but not the second one. Because otherwise, you just see that, where it's just stalling. Because in theory, he could have just done that over and over until it failed. I think it works like Protect in that regard. I think it's like it lowers the chance for it to succeed the more times in a row that you do it, but... Point still stands. Like, it's just a sad attempt to survive. It's not actually going to make a difference. Particularly if you're getting outsped. Like, even if you survive with 1 health, the next round you're toast. Unless you're going to use an item, which typically in Colosseum battles does not happen. You hear about UFO or something? I dug my way down there by myself. That sounds like way more work than I'm willing to do. Alternatively, not that it could actually happen in this game, even though you can learn, or can find Pokemon with it, you could just, fly your way down here. But nope, can't use them dang old dare TMs, I tell you what. That would be too easy. Double Edge Surf. I don't even remember what that does. Oh well. It is worth mentioning in here that, oh gosh, that was bad. It is worth mentioning that in here, you're typically going to be more likely, not necessarily, as you can tell by the fact that, can I get the cursor? Thank you. By the fact that there's a Houndour on the field right here, but the Pokemon down here are more likely to be fully evolved than they would be in other Colosseums. In addition to being lower level, the quote-unquote easier ones are just less likely to have fully evolved Pokemon, so it gives you a slight, keyword being slight, advantage in that regard. Oh, right, I always get those things. I'm so bad about remembering the triangle for Ghost, Dark, and Psychic. I don't know why. It's not that tough. I think it's because of the Dark, mostly. Like, the Dark types. I just don't use Dark very often. I like the offensive types. Dark, as a whole, isn't very good at this point. So, like, you kind of just forget about it. Like, I always remember, like, oh yeah, it's Dark, so I can't use Psychic on it, and I can use, like, Fighting on it and Bug, which, I mean, nobody ever pulls out Bug, so you're probably fine in that regard, but the point still stands that it, like, for my team, Dark just doesn't come up very often. I'd say probably Dark and Bug are the two that I've used the least. Fairy as well, but I've had less times where Fairy was even an option because I usually play the older games more. As for what I use most, probably... It might be Fire. It's probably Fire, Dragon, or... I guess technically normal, but... It's probably Fire, Water, or Dragon. I need to get better about using Ice types, though. Though it's really hard to find a lot of good Ice types in the early games. Looking at you, Gen 3. In particular, I'm going to have to get better about it for figuring out my team for when I've got to battle Icarus's team. I don't think I'm going to have to play any 40 chests to win, but I do want to have that type coverage for Ice, because I know that she knows, particularly in the earlier games, how broken Dragon is, and the fact that it's only weak to Ice and itself. Finally got rid of that palindrome. I don't think I ever pointed that out. Girafarig is a palindrome. I feel like she might take a Girafarig on her team just because she likes giraffes, but... As if I'm above that. I mean, I love cats and ferrets, so I pick Zangoose. I love dragons, so of course I'm going to take Salamence. We've made it to the final at last, and you may or may not have noticed this is not just some random schmo off the street. It's Miror B. And yes, they brought the music back. Thank you. It's so disappointing that they don't have the music in for the second time you fight him at Relgam Tower. But they do at least give you the benefit, if you play post-game, of hearing it again. Wow, that's a great idea. Look at all the health you're going to get back. Oh, wait, you were already at full. Maybe you should have spent a turn setting up. Could have, like, done Leech Seed on Reinhardt or something. I don't know. Oh, of course, Toxic missed. I'm going to try to keep track of which one I just made drowsy. Yeah, it was the 65 I just made drowsy, so I want to Toxic the 63. I don't really think it matters what I'm going to do. I'm going to get outsped anyway, so sure. And there's no point in wasting a turn switching it out. I might as well just let it take the hit to chip away the last of its damage and then do what I got to do here. See, the real question is, like, I know I could look up their movesets. I'm not going to be cheap and do that, but, like, are they going to specialize in water stuff or grass? Because if they're just going to have grass moves, I could send out Typhlosion for normal damage. But if they specialize in water moves, then I'm in, like, specifically they go for, like, Hydro Pump and stuff, then sending them out may not be the best option. So for the time being, I'm just going to kind of go with the middle ground and just stick with Poison, since I know Poison will work super effective on them between this and Sludge Bomb. In case you missed last time, I did finally get rid of Poison Sting, since I actually had a good option to switch it out for Sludge Bomb. Alright, so one's asleep, one's poisoned. Obviously we're going to go for the poison one, because at least it can actually still fight. Yeah, a little bit stronger, huh? That's what happens when you have something that's 4 times the power of the move that you had for it prior. Went from 15 to 90. Now, one thing I don't remember, and I'm going to assume yes, is that if you... And I don't think you have to have every Shadow Pokemon at this point. I think that's only for the very last one that's actually required. Yeah, you raised the defense of that Ludicolo that I wasn't fighting. I mean, by all means, waste your turn, sure. Go for it. Even if that hadn't killed, it would have just gotten killed by Double Edge. But I'm going to assume that if you did not catch Sudowoodo, or, as you can probably expect with the later rounds, I might as well go ahead and spoil it now, the legendary dogs that Venus, Ein, and Dakim have, because you will be fighting them for the finals for rounds 2, 3, and 4, that you'd be capable of getting them here if you missed them in all the areas that they were initially. Underground, Cave, Mount Battle, Shadow Lab, what have you. That seems like a waste of a full restore, but you could have just called, but sure. But if you missed them there, and you also missed them in Railgam Tower, I'm going to assume that you have the capacity to catch them here as well. Now, normally, in a Colosseum, you would not be able to. In an actual battle, you wouldn't be able to catch them, but the Shadow Pokemon we're looking for down here, which there's no point in trying to be coy about it because we already know that it's Shuckle, because Net already sent us the list of Shadow Pokemon. The Shuckle will be down here as well. So knowing that, there's a good chance it might actually let you catch them down here. Yeah, so how'd that X-Defend work out for you, huh? Not too well? What a surprise. Level 67. Yeah, if I pick up a level or two, it's not gonna bug me too terribly much. I felt like 66 was a decent balance, and that it would get me close to, but still not at 70 for the really, really high level stuff. And so that it was a good happy medium for, having a better fighting chance, but not being, oh, this is totally broken, you're just gonna one-shot everything. I figured this was a little bit more fair. See you later, Armaldo. One of these days I'm going to run an Armaldo on my team. I've never done that. The closest I've ever gotten to running on my team is just the times that I, got it from the fossil and then leveled it up all the way to get it to Armaldo for the Pokedex. Which is typically, at that point in the game, whenever I'm doing that, just getting the Anorith, throwing the XP share on it, and going to fight the Elite Four, and never actually sending it out in battle and just letting it get a bunch of levels. And like with all Colosseums, you still will get a cash prize. As you can see, it is much much, much higher than it was in all the other Colosseums. 20,000. And bear in mind, I didn't use the Amulet Coin. I believe the Amulet Coin does actually affect your prize money in the Colosseums as well. But we get TM12, and yes, I did see that email. But first, TM12 is Taunt. This enrages the target, so it can only use attack moves. From what I recall, this is I think this is the only one that I'd say it's not good. The rest of the TMs you get down here are pretty good. But first, let's see what we got for our email. We just got a letter, wonder who it's from. It's from Net. I heard you got into the Deep Colosseum. I heard a rumor about it. There's supposedly a seriously tough trainer who goes by the name of Deep King. I wonder what Pokemon he uses. Sir, I think you're actually thinking of Deep Claw. That's an F-Zero machine. Just for the sake of trying to keep the levels as even as I possibly can. And for the sake of not seeing the same strategy 86,000 times in a row for each of the subsequent rounds, I am going to try to switch up my team. So if somebody gains a level and gets to 67, whenever I go to the next round, I'll swap them or both of them out for somebody else. So we won't just be seeing Quagsire and Reinhardt in the front, or Quagsire and Espeon, or whoever. We'll mix it up. That's kind of one of the few downsides of doing the Colosseum runs, is the fact that, like, especially if you're at level and, like, know what you're doing, you're probably just going to see the same two Pokemon, unless they're actually strong enough to knock out one of your Pokemon, or you get put in a position where both your Pokemon somehow can't damage the other due to a type, and have to switch out. But otherwise, you're probably not going to bother switching. You'll just keep whatever you got. Obviously that needs to go. Even if I could attack the Sneasel, I'd still go for Jumpluff anyway. I find that odd. I feel like I would have gone for a grass move on Quagsire, but that's just me. Oh, you just wanted to... Really? Okay. Interesting decision. That's pretty good. What are that speed? That broken speed is so much speed. I've never run a Weavile on my team, and I want to at some point. Because, like I said, I don't use Darks or Ice, and it's Dark and Ice, so maybe I'll do that at some point. But it has to be when it can evolve into Weavile. I'm not using just a Sneasel. As much as I like Sneasel, like, it needs to be a little bit better, and it does need that Weavile evolution really badly. For now, we'll send it to the graveyard. But not the Shadow Realm, because it's not a Shadow Pokemon. 67. I guess I could have shown off, like, all my stats specifically. In fact, you know what? I'll go ahead and do that right now. Just for the record, for what everybody's at now that they're at 66 or 67, here are all the different stats. 180 for Espeon in order: 187, 104, 100, 226, 135, 184. For Quagsire, 217, 150, 126, 118, 120, 68. For Fortress, 205, 170, 226, 115, 104, 77. For Typhlosion, 206, 169, 130, 185, 131, and 154. For Ampharos, 217, 145, 130, 172, 138, 107. The Hiccups. And lastly, for Coolfish, 190, 164, 132, 111, 101, 150. So as you can see, pretty much every stat for everybody is over 100, other than the speed stat for Quagsire and Fortress, which is fine because they're not exactly built for speed. And even then, they've got, you know, pretty good defenses, or at the very least in Quagsire's case, a pretty good type over anything that's not grass. Because both of those Pokemon do have a 4x weakness, but I feel like, in my opinion, it's worth having a 4x weakness if everything else, at best, can only do normal damage, and most things are going to be not very effective. To me, that's a fair trade. Even in, like, especially in a battle with bots, because if they just don't happen to have the one type that they need, and they typically don't tend to have very diverse type sets, they do sometimes, but not usually, then it puts them in a bad spot. In, like, a professional setting, yeah, you would either, A, have status effects, you know, toxic or spikes or something like that in order to damage them that way. Or at the very least, diverse types so you could handle that. But with the bots, they're not, you know, typically they're going to kind of revolve around 1 to 2 types, and they're probably not going to deviate from that very much. Delibird and Marshtomp. I'm going to get rid of Marshtomp because I don't think Delibird's a threat, personally. Oh, look at that special attack, 231. Oh, beautiful. One other thing I did do that I didn't mention is I gave a couple more vitamins to Fortress. He was the only Pokemon, sorry, she was the only Pokemon left that could actually benefit from vitamins, so I gave her 3 sets of iron, which is for defense. Everybody else that I even tried to give anything to said it won't have any effect, so that was the only Pokemon that actually gained anything from that. Figured might as well make its defense that's already stupid high even more stupid high. See you later, Walrein. It's one of the few ice types I actually have used. I use that in XD. Oh, Delibird's the only one left. I thought he had a 4th one for some reason. Well, Surf, because it's the only thing that can damage. See you later, bird version of Santa Claus. How exasperating! I don't know why I have this voice. Alright, that was... yeah, I was going to say that was round 2, so we are back to the semis. We're fighting a bandana guy. I will say, for as tedious as this can be, it could always be some of the arenas in Battle Revolution. It could always be worse. Because don't get me wrong, pretty much every arena in the game, I love how it looks, especially Sunset Colosseum. But in terms of the gimmick, screw playing Sunset Colosseum. That one is specifically designed to frustrate you, and nothing more. At some point, I will probably play, not complete, but play that on stream, just to give you an idea of exactly how obnoxious it is. And another piece of advice, if you ever decide you want to play Battle Revolution, please import your team. Do not use the ones they give you, because they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. Like, you might be able to get through the 2 base Colosseums that they give you, but that's about all you're going to be able to do. Like, I can remember a few of the Colosseums, not all of them, but I can remember the one that's got, like, the wheel that you have to, like, aim your pointer and, like, hit with good timing to get the Pokemon you want. I obviously remember Sunset Colosseum. I remember there being one where you have to use, like, quote-unquote baby Pokemon. They have to be, like, level 5, I think. I'm willing to bet most people have probably not 100% in Battle Revolution. And I think it's fair to say, like, at the very least, excluding doing, like, the stupid, crazy, insane stuff of, like, trying to get a Munchlax legit, trying to get a Manaphy legit, stuff like that. But at least for, like, 100%ing the quote-unquote story, that might be the Pokemon game that people have 100% at the least. In terms of doing everything, it's absolutely the one people have 100% at the least. Like, the only way it's not is if there's some event, I'm sure there probably is one game, where it is, at this point, literally impossible to get a Pokemon, and therefore it cannot be 100%ed. But we'll say, for argument's sake in this case, 100%ing it as much as it is actually possible to be done. So if there's some legendary out there that's literally impossible to get at this point, can't trade it, can't do an event for it, whatever, then that doesn't count. But otherwise, everything else, even if it's a 1% chance of finding it, I still think Battle Revolution would be the last one that everyone's done. And not even because it's not a main series game either. But now we're fighting Dakim again. We're fighting Donkey Kong's human version, essentially. Oh, that's perfect! You gave me 2 that are weak to water. How nice of you. And even if I somehow lose Quagsire, I've still got Quillfish that can also use Surf. Maybe trying to go for like a one-hit kill move here? What are you doing? Yeah, I know it's not very effective, but it would have been even worse on Claydol, and so I figured might as well get Solrock out. Proto Alder Feet. I can see that. I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna have to go. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, sorry, I'd much rather have the Claydol on the field than the Flygon. Easily. Like, Claydol is kind of a pain, but it cannot, typically, at least by a bot, inflict near the damage that Flygon has the potential to. I say the only person that's gonna like damage any amount really is gonna be Espeon, and even then it wasn't that much. Because I'm pretty sure Claydol is like mega defense and not really much in the way of offense on physical or special side, from what I remember, but I don't have it open in front of me either. So really, I'm fine with just using Surf until it eventually gets killed by the residuals, as Espeon's just taking out the rest of his team, pretty much one-shotting everything, and if not, Surf's been cleaning it up. Houndoom. Perfect. That's like the perfect target for the Surf that's about to happen. Yeah, by all means, go ahead, take in that that sunlight. It's not even gonna matter because you're gonna be dead by the time you get to use it. Special tank. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. But now it's dead, so that's the important thing. I don't think I've ever run a Claydol on my team before, but I'm not big on... Like, I tank in Overwatch, man. I don't want to tank somewhere else. I already have to do that job as it is. I don't want to do it more. And I like playing tank, but I don't want it to just be the only thing that I do. Like, the more and more you play these styles of games that you have to have, like, a team, be it a team of human players or a team of stuff you control, the more and more you realize, in the cases of almost every game, it really does pay to, at the very least, have a couple of different, like, not even strategies, but, like, don't make it just all tanks, don't make it just all sweepers, don't make it just all, like, you know, don't just go for one thing only. There's some games where that's a good idea, but most of the time you need to at least, you know, have your feet in the water for other stuff. To some degree. And if for no other reason, so that you understand what works and doesn't work, so that whenever you get put against that, you're capable of defeating it more effectively. Getting information about Deep King, but slowly. He sounds like an expert trainer. What kind of Pokemon... Didn't he literally end the line that way? Isn't that exactly what he said? I wonder what kind of Pokemon he uses. I wonder what Pokemon he uses. Wow, they added one word. Proud of you guys. You learned how to copy-paste. Alright, TM48. Which is... Skill Swap. Not great against bots, but has the potential to be very good in multiplayer. Definitely some potential with this one. For sure. Before we continue, I'm going to save really quickly. We've got some 68s here, so let's switch this up. I was gonna try and swap over with somebody that wasn't weak to to ground, but all three that were left were weak to ground. So much of my team is weak to ground. Quillfish, Typhlosion, and Ampharos. And arguably Espeon because it doesn't have great physical defense. So, 2/3 of my team, no biggie. Oh well. But yeah, I can't stress that enough for, like, team games, be it stuff like Pokemon or a team where you're playing with a team. Like, it's honestly better to be, like, a blend between expert in one field and jack of all trades. Like, I would rather be, like, an 8 out of 10 in one field, but still be, like, a 4 or 5 out of 10 in the other fields. Just in case you either need to fill a slot or, like, somebody's not doing a good job because they're not used to it, and so, like, you can do at least a little bit better. The coverage is way better. Which, like, really, it's the same thing for Pokemon. Like, people don't, like, at least competitively, and just because, you know, people aren't typically stupid, the trainers will do it, but, like, nobody just runs all of one type. Like, if you're going for a theme, that's cool, but, like, all it takes is just one Pokemon from the enemy team that is effective against you, and they can, you know, completely sweep the team. Or at the very least, probably knock out multiples of your team before you can get them out, and at that point, you're just so far behind you can't catch up. That said, at least in single player, it's nice to have sweepers that can just one-shot everything here. Sorry, Pedo Bear. You will be missed. Congrats on surviving that flamethrower, though, because no one else did. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure now that... And again, I could be wrong. I think every Pokemon on our team has learned or gone through every move they can learn through level up. I don't think there's any more that they're going to learn. It surprised me that Quagsire even... Not that it could learn Mist and Defog, but that it could learn it through level up and that I hadn't seen everything. I figured by the point that I hit 60, I was very unlikely to see anything else. Like, at that point, it was just going to be the stats that went up. Ryder Chateau. Oh yeah, like Chateau Romani. I'm a big fan. If you're going to fight Majora the normal way and not use the broken Fierce Deity Mask, you kind of need that. That Chateau Romani, man, it's freaking broken as all get out. You think they'd at least put a proper timer on it rather than just going back in time, being like, yeah, you got infinite magic, but it's for like 3 minutes. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this with how much I typically bash it. Make it like a Breath of the Wild style, where, you know, it's a potion that has effects for X amount of time, rather than just, yeah, you can keep this for a full 3-day cycle. As long as you got the arrows, fire light arrows to your heart's content, like, have fun, destroy everything. Could you imagine if that was in Wind Waker with how broken the light arrows are in that game, where they just one-shot everything? That might be the most broken light arrows have ever been in a 3D game that I can remember, at least. Like, fired a Dark Nut, it just one-shots it. Like, always drops the little item balls, too, so you're guaranteed to get some money, some hearts, probably their item out of it, whatever it is. Knight's Crest, you know, Joy Pendant, whatever the case may be. I'm going to be very curious to how Icarus reacts to Wind Waker whenever she gets that one. At some point, we are actually going to do Ocarina of Time. And actually finish it. We've just both been in a spot where when one of us is free, the other one isn't, and vice versa. Because, like, she had a week out of town where she was on vacation, and I was doing nothing but working, so even if she had been here, we wouldn't have been able to do it. And then I have tonight off, but she's going to be playing D&D, unfortunately for her, because they go for way too long. Like, for anybody that does play in D&D, you know how long it can typically go. They start at 3 in the afternoon and usually finish around 4 o'clock in the morning. sometimes longer. Which is why they play on Saturday, because none of them have work on Sunday. They'll usually play for, like, at bare minimum, if they're not really feeling like playing, they will play for at least 9 hours. At least 9 hours. And I can't even do that with games hardly anymore. Like, doing the Ocarina of Time speedrun that I did, where I did it all in one sitting, like, I was exhausted by the end of that, and that was just under 8, I think is what it was. Probably with the startup time and getting things set, it probably was pretty much right on 8 hours, but, like, oh my gosh. That's just, yeah, way too much. Way too much. And it also usually ends up with her bored out of her skull by the end of it. Which, to be fair, even for something like that, she doesn't strike me as somebody that would want to play for more than, like, maybe 3-4 hours tops. But, like, even when we do stuff like Mario Kart or Mario Party, like, we can do multiple rounds in a row of that, but, like, with the giant library that I have, like, we're usually not going over 2.5 hours at complete most, and usually it's closer to, like, 1.5 hours, and then we'll switch over to something else. I think we've done 3 all-cup tours in a row on Double Dash. I think that's the most we've ever done in a row. I don't think we've done 4. And even for me, like, I wouldn't be burnt out on Double Dash. I could absolutely play it for way longer than that. But, like, at that point, I'd just kind of be in muscle memory mode, like, not really paying attention to what's going on. You know, like, kind of just playing it without thinking. Which sounds weird for a racing game, but, like, I've played it enough to where I can do that, where it's all just muscle memory. The only things that'll kind of snap me out of it is if, like, I get hit by a blue shell or a lightning bolt or a star or something like that, but even those, I can recover from it fast enough where I'll just be right back into kind of zoning out while playing it. Round 3 for the final. I'll bet you can never guess who it is. It's not like we're fighting these in order or anything. Oh wait, we totally are. Yeah, it's Venus. Your Venus. Not my Venus, though. You're annoyingly persistent. Well, I didn't come here for you. Blissey and Rye. It reminded me of that Who's Line thing, Cosby and Hitler. For anybody that hasn't seen that, they do a thing called Scenes from a Hat, where basically the audience will give them a bunch of, like, ideas to act out. Or, like, you know, like little mini things where they have to do something funny, where it's like, some of the, usually the inappropriate ones are like, things you could say about your truck but not your girlfriend, or things you could say about your dog but not your girlfriend. Ones like that. And one of them was, that they asked the audience for, in doing one of their skits, because they always ask the audience for a lot of stuff, was name 2 people that would be very unlikely to be roommates, and one guy very clearly says from the back, Bill Cosby and Hitler. Which, to be fair, he is absolutely right. That would be a very weird pairing of roommates. But, of course, it's one of the ones that the producer doesn't give the green light for, and they love giving him crap all the time and making fun of him. And so as a result, there's just, like, a bunch of, like, things, like, things you wouldn't be likely to see on a t-shirt, and one of them will pop in and be like, Cosby and Hitler. Just really goofy stuff like that. If you've not ever seen the deleted scenes for Whose Line, the stuff that doesn't make it to air, I would argue most of it's even funnier than the actual stuff that does make it on air. It's going to be more inappropriate, obviously, but it will still be funny. Alright, Aura, catch you later. I'm going to try not to get killed by confusion here. Alright, so that's her second one down, I think? I'm kind of stuck leaving Blissey here until it's either the last one left or it manages to take somebody out so I can swap in for a physical attacker. Because Blissey's got stupid high special defense, and so physical attacks just aren't really going to work here. I might have to switch anyway, just because at this point I'm not going to be able to do any damage. Yeah, if you're going to use Ingrain, I'm absolutely going to switch. Otherwise, I'm just going to lose Typhlosion, and I need Typhlosion to get Meganium out. Alright, let's swap them both. We need physical attackers. I was considering switching him anyway because he's good against both of them. And... yeah, why not? I don't know why I thought about that for so long, but sure, I'll go with it. Leech Seed. Bleh. It's actually not like a horrible move for her to have, in particular with this team, because this seems like a very tanky / defensive team, where it's designed to just stick around for forever. Unfortunately for them, I'm not about to let that happen. Sludge Bomb on Meganium, and Double Edge on Meganium. Didn't even need the Double Edge. But then again, it's Meganium. Nobody expected it to do well, so... Even having Leech Seed and Ingrain, it still wasn't enough to keep it alive. That should tell you something. That was pretty good against Melodic, considering. No, well, Reinhardt's dead. Even if full, I'm pretty sure that would have killed him. Her... My god. I'm being so offensive today. And by offensive, I mean just not paying attention to the little thing that's next to their name. Because I think at this point in the series, for almost every Pokemon, don't they? I'm pretty sure they look exactly the same. Other than that little icon for male or female. Could be wrong about that, though. I honestly don't remember. There we go. Bye, Blissey. He might have a good special defense stat, but when it comes to physical defense, he can't do squat. They gave me the swirlies. They gave me a swirly. They flushed my head into the toilet. I've never had the honor of getting a swirly, nor have I had the honor of giving somebody a swirly. Probably because not only am I getting my head anywhere close to a toilet bowl unless I'm throwing up, I'm not getting my hand next to the or close to the inside of a toilet bowl either. Because I also, thankfully, have never been unfortunate enough to have my phone fall in the toilet or anything like that. I do know plenty of people that has happened to, but I usually don't text or watch videos or anything like that while I'm on the toilet. I know a lot of people actually do have to do that. That's like where you get the whole, like, reading the newspaper or, like, comic books or, you know, anything like that on the toilet. Is some people do need that in order to help them go, but I've never been one of those people. And I also don't plan on, you know, hanging around on the potty for longer than I need to. You know, you get in, you do your business, and you go out. The only time you ever, you know, hang around there for longer than you need to is if you're at school and you don't want to go back to your class. 22148 and TM44. Probably gonna get another email. But first, what is that TM? That is rest. The user sleeps for 2 turns to restore health and status. Or status, if you prefer. Not a horrible move if you have a Pokemon that can wake up early, or if you give them a Chesto Berry for their hold item, then you can go to sleep, completely regain your health, and immediately wake up, so it's a full heal. So, again, one of those, like, if used in the right way, it can be extremely good. If used in the wrong way, it's just going to delay the inevitable, where you're going to get knocked down to low health, use it, go to sleep, go back to full, and then you can't do anything for 2 turns, and you're just stuck, and you're going to die. Deep King, round 3. This is Net. I've been getting more information on the trainer Deep King. Yeah, you said that. They went from, I've been getting information about him, but slowly, to, I've been slowly getting more information on him. Just finding different ways to word it. He uses Shadow Shuckle, he could be very tenacious. Oh, so he's like the Destiny hero Captain Tenacious. Which, by the way, is the dumbest name for a superhero in the history of the world. Captain Tenacious. Then again, I never liked Aster Phoenix in GX. He claimed to be, like, insanely good, but, like, I don't know. He never really felt like he could back it up, even when he did actually win. Yeah, that'll work. So we've got 367s, 268s, and 166, so they're still pretty balanced. Alright, so round 4. Which I believe is the final round at this point, because in order to fight Deep King, he basically shows up as a 5th fight, if I remember correctly, after beating Ein. So, thankfully, we don't have to see a 5th round of this. Not that it's been too terribly bad, because with the exception of the admins, pretty much everybody's been getting their Pokemon one-shotted. Or at the very least two-shotted, so they've not been threats by any means. Nor do they have full teams. But still, you know, don't want to make it last for all eternity. Quilava and Ampharos. Alright, so Nuzleaf and Beautifly, huh? Alright, Sludge Bomb on that, Thunderbolt on that, since it's part flying, and that should get us through those two. As bad as they are for long-term, I do like the idea of short-term in games of being able to get an evolution fully evolved at level 10, just to get that kind of temporary edge over maybe like the first gym or two, if there's really no other good option and you didn't pick a starter that was effective for it, usually fire. But just like something of like, yeah, you know this isn't going to work long-term, but at least, you know, it's a temporary solution. It'll get you through a little bit, and then by the time you can actually catch up and, you know, have more options available to you, that kind of thing, then you'll be alright. I picked very well with having Quillfish out here. Be doing, at the very least, normal damage to everything, but super effective on a pretty good chunk of this, too. Oh, you're just gonna waste a turn on Sunny Day? Alright, by all means, go for it. I'm pretty sure it has Chlorophyll, which raises its speed, so it might still go first, but it's not gonna be able to take out both my team with Solar Beam, so either way, he's gone. Nope, you're just gonna use Synthesis to heal yourself. Alright. Well, let's see if you can heal through this. No? Really? What a surprise. Who would have seen that coming? We've beaten Drook. More like Mook. Like Mook Sr. Alright, so we had a bunch of grass and bugs. I'm gonna guess electric. I think it's going to be a bunch of electric types. Roller Boy, that could be anything, honestly. Roller Boy Dolt. More like Dolt with an O, but like Dolt is pretty close too. Oh, well, I was half right. Technically a third if we're going by all three types that appeared. But there was an electric. So I will take that victory. There's not really much I can do against that Lantern, unfortunately. So let's just kick the crap out of X-Blad for the time being. I mean, it's pretty safe to say they're gonna target Quillfish, right? Like, water's not gonna work that well in Ampharos. Obviously, electric isn't gonna work that well in Ampharos, so I assume Quillfish will be the target. Oh, you're gonna go for the paralysis, huh? Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna go for Ampharos, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably gonna warrant me using a full heal just to make sure I can kill that Octillery, but... I mean, if you're gonna do that, then sure. I know I can get Octillery out in one hit, so... The X-Plat I wasn't completely sure, but I knew that was gonna go. Lairon, alright, so I need to either try and surf that, or if I end up losing Quillfish, then go with Typhlosion. We'll see which happens. Oops, I had that backwards. Surf. Pretty sure that's part ground, so I don't think I can do anything to it for the time being. So let's Thunder Wave it. If it's going to be obnoxious and paralyze one of my Pokemon, then there's no reason why I can't go and do the exact same thing to it. I actually appreciate you doing that, because that makes it a little bit easier for me. I can send out a water type that's immune to that. Don't be going and sniffing no salt, you weirdo. I feel like this should be enough to get them both. Ah, Volt Absorb. Alright, well, I still think this might be enough to get them both. There goes one, because keep in mind it's got Soft Sand, so that Earthquake's even more powerful, plus Stab bonus. My Ampharos narrowly survives it. And there goes Lairon. Nice. Earthquake OP, please do not nerf. Leave it exactly as it is. Nothing needs to change. I'm surprised I lost. I'm not. That makes me wonder, though, of, like, of the total Pokemon you can get in this game, like, collectively, what has the most type weakness? I wonder if it is ground. I feel like by the time you get to Dakim, like, it absolutely is ground. A lot of them are going to be weak to it. Because you don't have too terribly many flyers at that point, do you? I think you've got Swablu and Noctowl, and I think that might be it. In terms of, like, completely immune to it. I don't think there's anything else, but I mean, I don't have it in front of me either. I'm sure somebody has calculated it. I'm absolutely sure somebody has. In the meantime, though... Oh yeah, that move that always does like an insane amount of damage regardless of like what your opponent's health is or if they've got a status effect or anything, but when you use it, it does nothing. I've never figured out how Endeavor works. It seems to just be completely random, honestly. Because I think it's, in theory, it's supposed to be like the more damage that, or the more health you've lost, the more damage you do using it. But there have been times where I've used it where I was at like critically low health and it still did next to nothing despite being normal damage. And then there's other times like that where someone will use it and they're at like half health or higher. No status effect, no nothing. And they just like one-shot your Pokemon with it. It really does not seem to hold any semblance of a consistency at all. Can we get him out? That will work. Technically he's alive, but poison's going to kill him at the end of the round, so it does not matter. I figured you would have gone after Quillfish with that, since Dig was probably targeting that Ampharos, but I guess not. Let's see. Crawdont's going to be the last one, so it's probably going to be Espeon would be the best pick. Well, let's go and throw Reinhardt. He's lower level, technically. Might as well give him the experience. And I might just immediately do Protect, just because I'm like 95% sure that the target of that Dig was Ampharos. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to, because I think Crawdaunt will go before me. So, Sludge Bomb and Double Edge. No, he actually did go before Crawdaunt. I find that kind of surprising. I know he's 5 levels higher, but I still feel like he would have gone before. Also, I was right about that dig, so that's nice. But now that I know he's going last, let's go destroy him. Freaking love Sludge Bomb. Such a good poison move. At the very least, for this point in the series, a very good move. And that is the third trainer, I believe, because we had the Chaser, we had the Roller Boy, and we had her. So I believe this is the final. Or the not final, rather, because we know we're going to have to fight Deep King after we beat out Ein here. But if it makes you feel any better, Ein, you are my favorite of the 4 big bosses in this game. I don't care for Venus or Dakim at all. Miror B's pretty awesome, but I just like the look of this guy more. He always felt like more of a leader than the other 3. Like, the other 3 were just a little bit too ridiculous. Like, Dakim had his physical strength, and Venus had her charm, and Miror B has his ability to dance very well. But I always felt like Ein was kind of the glue that was actually keeping them together. That's going to obviously have Lightning Rod, so I'm not even going to bother trying. I'm just going to sit there and wait like a good little boy until Rhydon's taken out. And I'm going to say with a very high confidence that he could entirely send out something else that also has Lightning Rod. But let's see what he does. Yep, that can also have Lightning Rod and probably does. Well, I don't feel bad for using Cotton Spore now, especially since he used an X speed to up his speed sharply. That'll just lower it back down again, so I'm actually okay with kind of just sitting here doing that. Let me do Sludge Bomb, because I still feel like that's going to be better between Hold Item and Stab. Or he could just use Thunder and manage to get to hit, even though I can never manage to get to hit. Debating my head, sorry. We'll get that Speon. I don't feel like it's worth the Earthquake to potentially kill Ampharos to get that Manectric out of here. I'll just get it the old-fashioned way. By just completely blowing it away with Psychic plus Stab plus Twisted Spoon plus already crazy high special attack stat. Also, he still does, at least in some regard, use the same strategy. Because Miror B did, but Dakim didn't really do any. Like, he didn't use the Earthquake Protect, and Venus didn't really use Attract as much as she normally does. Alright, got Mantine with that once. Let's see if I can get Manectric out and lower it a little bit so that Espeon can go first. I'm pretty sure it'll still go ahead, but just to be absolutely sure. And it's not like I can attack. If it's got Lightning Rod, I'm not going to bother. Alright, you got anything else with Lightning Rod? Or can I finally get rid of that Mantine? Crobat. I'm pretty sure Crobat doesn't have Lightning Rod. It is a Lightning Rod in the fact that it'll get destroyed by Thunderbolts, but yeah, it's especially going to be... That's probably his last Pokemon, isn't it? Because he just sent it out against 2 Pokemon that are good against it. No, he did have one more. Okay, well. Since it's raining, I might as well use Thunder. Aw, you jackass. And you're going to send out something that's got Lightning Rod and it's ground. Nope, Gyarados. Okay, well, I can kill Gyarados. I wasn't done with that Mantine, my dude. Why did he do... I guess because its speed was lowered? Because it obviously wasn't for the type difference. And it obviously wasn't for Intimidate because neither one of those are going to be attacking physically. So I gotta assume that was just because I had lowered its speed so much, he wanted to get rid of those status, or the status of having it be low, because that's dead, yeah. And now he's just going to have to throw it right back out there, so... That strategy off-screen, by the way, did work incredibly well of using Attract with Fortress to force things to withdraw. Because it seems like the bot knows how broken that can be. And as a result, just decides, I ain't dealing with it, I'm just going to withdraw and send out something else. Even though it's not like it's 100% guarantee that they're not going to be able to do anything. Because with regular Confusion, AI doesn't typically withdraw any of the other status effects. Even if they've got Natural Cure, they don't tend to withdraw their Pokemon, but with Falling in Love, they'll do it every time, apparently. If they're capable of doing it, they'll do it. And with that, Aina is out of Pokemon. We've done it. What unbelievable power. Thank you. It was mostly killing your Pokemon that had Lightning Rod, because they were being very obnoxious. Also, I guess you do have to do a 5th round. Got more money, less than normal, which is weird. And TMO2, which if I recall is one of my personal favorites. The almighty Dragon Claw. Hooks and slashes the target with long, sharp claws. This thing, if put on the right Pokemon, mainly Salamence, will run through them like an absolute truck. Do I have anything that can learn Dragon Claw? No. Of course not. That would be too helpful, wouldn't it? What about Giga Drain? Because I've been thinking about using a grass move. Do we have anything for Giga Drain? Reinhardt, and that's it. Iron Tail? Having a steel move wouldn't be horrible. Fair few. Half the team can. Ampharos, Espeon, and Quagsire. I'd consider giving it to Ampharos, because at this current point in time, if it has to fight a ground type, it literally cannot damage a ground type, because 3 of its 4 moves can't do anything. The only thing I could do would be use Cotton Spore, and most ground types, are still going to be slower than Ampharos is anyway. So I might consider getting rid of Thunder to use that. Maybe. But while I think on that, let's check our mail and see what repeat message we've got this time. And also hit the snag list by accident, so you can see we've picked up everything but that Shuckle. There's a rumor that the Deep King... let's try that again. This is net. There's a rumor that Deep King... I guess the Deep King is what threw me off. That Deep King is entered in the knockout tourney at the Deep Colosseum. You've got to enter too and show up His Highness. So you do have to do it a 5th time. To quote Hajime Hinata, i.e. Johnny Young Bosch from, or Johnny Young Bosch from Danganronpa 2, damn it! In that exact way of saying it. Before I save, and have to do this for the 5th time, I'm pretty sure you don't get a TM for doing it this time. Mixed up a little bit more here. I'm gonna look over my stuff one more time, because I know he does have he's the one that has the level 70 I'm thinking of, and unfortunately, I can't use Dragon Tail, or Dragon Claw rather, which is a shame, because the Pokemon in question is only weak to Dragon moves. Everything else is either normal or not very effective. So that's kind of a bummer that I can't do that. I've also been considering Brick Break as well. I know Typhlosion can learn this. Can anybody else? Quagsire and Ampharos. Oh, that's really tempting to use on Ampharos, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Actually, let me explain why first. I'm gonna back out of this. Before anybody gives me grief about this, I want to back out of this before I do it. Before anybody goes, why would you not pick Quagsire? So Quagsire does, it is true, Quagsire does have better attack than special attack. That is true. I will give you that. However, I'd say it's got a more diverse moveset. It's got water and ground as opposed to just one type. And Mudshot could still be effective if I don't want to Earthquake and accidentally kill somebody on my own team. I could consider getting rid of Yon, but I feel like also if I was going to teach it another move, and I have one in mind, then I would get rid of one of these, and I would rather give it to Quagsire, because I'm pretty sure nobody else on my team is going to even be capable of learning that move. Moving to Ampharos. Because of Ampharos' nature, Adamant, it actually has a pretty good attack. It's not that much lower than its special attack is, because it's got plus attack minus special attack, which is absolute crap for a nature, but in the idea of using physical moves like Brick Break, it's not a horrible idea. It is going to be the weakest other than Espeon for physical attack, but it's still got pretty decent damage. And the only other team member that can learn it, which is Typhlosion, already has, again, more of a diverse set with 2 fire moves and a ground move. I would probably get rid of Flame Wheel at some point, because, I mean, with Flamethrower, it's kind of obsolete doing that in the first place. I do want to keep Smoke Screen for the time being, because we still have to catch Shadow Pokemon, so keep it for that. And even then, it's still not a horrible move. But that's why I would consider Brick Break on Ampharos. But there's a couple other things here. I think for the time being, though, level-wise, we're probably okay to where it's not gonna, like, even though we'll be, what, like, we'll be 2 or 3, probably mostly just 2 levels lower than fighting the Deep King's strongest Pokemon, so I don't feel like we're just gonna get completely and utterly blown out of the water by him or anything like that. There's one other thing I want to check before I enter, though, and that's how many Pokeballs that I have. Yeah, that should be plenty. That should be plenty. 42, we're not gonna need that many. Should be fine in that regard. Yeah, okay. I was saying, I don't want to put Ampharos in front for that fight, even though it's going to be full heal, in case the Shuckle is the last thing he sends out, because I do want to be able to paralyze that with Thunder Wave. Because, let's be honest, I'm probably not going to be able to damage it with much else, despite the fact that it is absolutely a wall in every sense. It can't do anything for attack, but it's got phenomenal defense as an HP. In fact, I'm even going to pull up its stats right now while we're sitting here waiting for this whole animation to go through. So the base stat... Oh, not good health, but phenomenal defense. I'm going to go from lowest stat to highest stat in order for Shuckle. For base stats. Its lowest base stat is speed, which is 5. And then it is tied for attack and special attack with 10. Sorry, I was putting in my commands. So that's 3 of its stats. HP is 20, so thus far it has no stat over 20. Its defense and special defense, however, are 230 each. So defensively, it is an absolute wall. Not phenomenal in health, but it's got a crap load of defense on both sides. So, yeah, if you were looking for a Pokemon to, like, just wall and use stuff like Toxic and Spikes, absolutely a phenomenal choice. Because, like, damage-wise, it ain't gonna be able to do much, but status-wise, yeah, I can mess up a team pretty good. In the meantime, while we're waiting for this animation to go through, I'm gonna pull up the move list that this Shuckle has. Yeah, look at him running in place. Look at him running in place. Alright, Lorge. Where's your brother Dread? Okay, there we go. Curious to see what it had for its moves. Honestly, that's about what I would have expected, truthfully. Take down on Kadabra because his physical defense is pretty bad. Flamethrower on Mischievous because Flamethrower is broken. Nice. I always find it kind of interesting that you never see an Alakazam in this game, do you? There's a fair few Kadabras. We have not seen a single Alakazam. I know it's a trait evolution, so, like, you know, I get that point of it. But, like, for AI, that doesn't really matter. Like, you can still usually find it with no problem. Sludge Bomb, Flamethrower. So you think you'd see one of them, but you really don't. Kind of weird. I'm trying to think of, like... Because we've seen a Machamp, I'm pretty sure, which is also a trait evolution. I'm pretty sure we've seen at least one of those, but we have not seen an Alakazam at any point. Alright, they're both at 68 now. As everybody's sitting there just waiting for the inevitable 69 jokes. You can never escape the 69 jokes. It's just the worst. That was pretty good damage, all things considered, for that Sludge Bomb. I don't take that. Set this Kecleon up for a fall here, provided that Typhlosion can survive this. Because even if by some miracle he survives that Flamethrower, which, yeah, I was going to assume he would, Color Change will turn him to fire, and then next turn I'll use Surf and do super effective damage on him. Because he's going to get hit with the full force of that Surf. I don't know if I ever mentioned this or not, but for the record, in double battles, if you've got a move that's like Surf, something that's going to hit both targets, you know, provided it doesn't miss, but in normal circumstances it's going to hit both targets, then it's going to hit them with 70% of its power if there are two out on the field. If there's only one out on the field, it will hit it with full force. But that's kind of their way of nerfing it a little bit to where it's not as broken as it possibly could be, because I mean, in their defense, you're hitting both of their Pokemon and not your ally. Like, you don't have to use Protect or be up in the air or anything like that for it to not hit. So, I feel like that's fair, you know, like, that's a fair trade. Because otherwise, like, Surf would be even more broken than it already is. Especially when you've got the potential for them to be both fire types or, like, both ground types. Something that's weak to water on both sides, like... Even with that, there's a good chance it's going to kill them both at full health, so I feel like that's, you know, that's fair. I don't remember if they kept that or removed that after Surf hit your ally, though. Yeah, that'll work. That Relicanth is part rock type, so it'll still do normal damage. I don't know why, but I've just got a hunch he's going to have something that's weak to water that he's going to be forced to throw out here because it's his last one. No, not weak to water. Weak to fire, though. Oh, music in this game is so good. They really just absolutely knocked that out of the park with the music in this game in particular. And usually the music in Pokemon's pretty good, as is, but like it's particularly good here. It's just like a good blend, because like usually for most games, we'll go with Sludge Bomb, we'll just see how that does, because Flamethrower is going to kill Mawile here. Usually like with each game, there's like a particular set of instruments that kind of like are the star of the show. Like for Gen 4, it's the piano. For Gen 3, it's the brass. But here, it's kind of just, it blends all, it's really well-rounded just all across the board. Like, all the synthesis stuff is pretty good. The guitar is obviously amazing. The electric guitar, that is. The brass is really good. It's not in your ear and overpowering, which is typically the big problem that I have with brass, is it's too in your face. Because, in my opinion, personally, for my musical preferences, like, brass is a bit too much. I personally consider it the worst of the 4 groups between percussion, brass, stringed, and wind, because it tends to be a little bit too obnoxious for me. But when it can work if that's supposed to be the highlight. So like when you're thinking for like ancient medieval music where you're getting a lot of horns and stuff, it kind of works there. But otherwise, I don't like it being the star of the show. But it's a good blend here to where it's not completely in your face and obnoxious. Like, brass absolutely has its place. It's just I feel like a lot of songs don't tend to know where that place is. And they tend to think it's left, right, and center and don't hear anything else. I apologize to anybody that likes brass or that plays a brass instrument. Deep King Agnol. Send out Girafarig and Skarmory. Well, I can get the Skarmory out pretty quickly here. So yeah, as you can see, pretty tough. These are about on par with us, 66, 68. So they're pretty dang close. I actually don't know what to do about the Girafarig at this current point in time. So I'm going to do something stupid. I'm going to use Sludge Bomb on Skarmory, assuming that Skarmory is going to get one-shotted by Quilava. Sorry, Typhlosion. I'll get that right one of these days. Because I know it will go first. And that will leave it to get hit by whatever comes out. Because I know Poison doesn't work on Steel, I'm aware. But I was pretty sure Skarmory was not going to survive that hit. Kingdra, yep, there's his level 70, Kingdra, which is why I really wanted Dragon Claw, but couldn't use it on anybody. Oh well. That was still pretty good damage, though. I'll take that. I'll probably Flamethrower Girafarig next round and Sludge Bomb Kingdra again, provided I can get the opportunity to do that before they attack me again, because if another hit hits Qwilfish, it's gone. And I feel like Kingdra can probably outspeed Qwilfish. Even if it was on equal level, I feel like it could outspeed it. Oh hey, a Shedinja! I'll look forward to bursting that with Flamethrower next round, thanks. I find it a bit odd that, like, arguably the hardest quote-unquote boss in the game has a Shedinja. Because Shedinja's not very good. Like, it only has 1 HP. Like, I get the whole thing of it, but, like, there's so much that it's weak to. Like, as long as the attack goes through, it doesn't matter how weak the attack is. It's still going to be enough to kill in 1 hit. Like, I wouldn't even need Flamethrower. I could get, like, a level 1 Pokemon, the new Ember, and if it could survive until it got to make its move on that Shedinja, it could kill that Shedinja. Which would probably be phenomenal in terms of, you know, gaining experience. Also, Rui's out on the field for no reason, even though she didn't even follow us in here. But yes, Shuckle is, unsurprisingly, as you probably guessed, the Shadow Pokemon in question. For the record, level 45, as you saw, it is a Bug and Rock type, so kind of unique typing there. Sturdy for its ability, which means it can't be killed by one-hit KO attacks. That was before the buff, so that means things like Fissure or Sheer Cold, stuff like that. For that Sableye, sure, Ampharos is fine. Its moves are Shadow Rush, unsurprisingly, since it's a Shadow Pokemon, as well as Encore, Rest, and Bide, meaning that 2 of its moves don't damage you, thankfully. I'm going to Thunder Wave that and get Sableye out of here. Because nobody asked to hang out with Sableye, let's be real. It always looked like the Pokemon version of Stitch to me, from Lilo and Stitch. Like, if Stitch was a ghost type in Pokemon, that's what he would be. You wouldn't even have to change it, that's what he would look like. Well, there's no point in lowering its speed, because let's face it, it's already pretty dang slow as it is. Its defenses are high, but I'm just going to hit it with weak attacks from Espeon and just kind of see how it handles it. Because even though it is very good defensively, it is still lower level than we are by about, 20 levels. So we'll kind of play it by ear and see how it goes. As you can see, though, damage-wise, it can't do squat. I don't expect this to do very much. Didn't think so. And as strange as it sounds, I think I'm going to go ahead and start throwing right now. Just for the heck of it. Start working on it ahead of time. I don't even know what its catch rate is, honestly. Okay, that was easy. I was still looking it up, but, yeah, okay, well, it's gone. We got it. It took one throw with the Great Ball, and it was still, it was paralyzed, but it was still largely at full health. Alright, then. That was a thing. How much money do we get for that? Not very much. It's over 9,000. Insert your very old, overused meme here. But not compared to, the 20,000 we were getting before. But yes, we have the Shuckle, which means we are only missing one Shadow Pokemon. That is it. Only one left in the game. So, let's bounce. I think at this point, all we have to do is just go to an area, period. And if I remember correctly, and we'll just take this way out, sure. If I remember correctly, you don't need to have all of them purified. You do for, the final reward, but for getting the last Shadow Pokemon to appear, I think you just have to have them all. So, if there's any trainers you need to rematch, they're either going to be in Rogum Tower, if it's any of the ones from the Gauntlet, including Evis and Naskur. If they're not there, then they'll be in Pirate Square if it's the ones from those, the same place they were before. If it's any of the Cypher Peons or the, any of the Snag'em dudes, Snag'em, not even admins, just the Snag'em lackeys, they're going to be here at the Snag'em hideout. The point is, I believe now at this point you are able to find every Shadow Pokemon, they will still... You'll be able to find them somewhere in the world. And once you've collected them all, you'll start getting emails from your PDA. And then you'll go into the wrong button and hit Snagless instead. And you'll get stuff like, what's with you? I'm Dash from Finnick. I'm just an ordinary citizen who happens to run around the town's fountain. So what gives you to have the right for your Pokemon to attack me? You don't deserve any respect as a trainer. Shame on you. Okay, even if that was me, how did you get this email, dude? So let's go to Finnick and see what's going on here. So I'm trying to slander my good name. Kick his ass. Yeah, it was me that sent you that email. Why'd you attack me? You're doing this elsewhere too? Yeah, I am. I thought you were a good guy. Boy, was I wrong. You're a lowlife. I got nothing to say to you. He won't believe you if you say no, and then he'll say I've got nothing to say to you for the rest of them, just for the record. Also, one other thing I wanted to do, which wasn't terribly important, but I figured for the heck of it. Hi. I've upgraded and added the strategy memo function. You'll be able to check the types and abilities of Pokemon that you've met at a glance. So this game actually does have some semblance of a Pokedex. I believe I showed this off, but then when I redid my file, I forgot to pick it up again. And yeah, it'll show up in your PDA as another option here. So you can see all the Pokemon. As you can see, I've met 258, so quite a few, because some of these are from Hoenn, but most of them are from Johto. So you'll be able to look at them all there. The thing is, in order to update the Pokemon that you've seen, you need to come and talk to her again. But I figured I'd go and show that off, that, like, yeah, there is some semblance to a Pokedex in this game. If you click on one, we'll go with my favorite one, which is nearly, if not at, the bottom. It's going to be close to the bottom since it starts with a Z. We'll go with my favorite. Yeah, third from the bottom. Just Zangoose. So yeah, it will give you the, what it's called, its type, its ability, immunity, which means it can't be poison, its height and weight. You can hear its growl. You can zoom in or out eyeing, turn. You can see its size relative to you. So yeah, there's a semblance of a Pokedex in this game. Anyway, now that we've gotten that... Net from the Under. Hey, it's Net. I analyzed the Shadow Pokemon list some more and discovered the very last one. The last Shadow Pokemon was Togetic. I can finally stop being coy about that. That completes the analysis of the data ROM you provided. So now, in your snag list, you will have every single one that is in the game. Of course, the only way that email shows up is if you've gotten the previous 47, so you would have already known those, but at least it's in the list now. Now let's just go somewhere else. I'm pretty sure that's what you have to do to, get another email to show up. Sure enough. Who is this bit from the Under? It's Bit in the Under. I caught you on an unbelievable scene that's terrible and shocking. What's your problem? Why are you attacking people with the Shadow Togetic? Dude, I don't have the Togetic. Sorry. So let's leave and go somewhere else. Back to Fennec, I don't know. Try to save on gas as much as I can here. Do I need to go somewhere I haven't been? No, let's go to Mount Battle, I don't know. I'm pretty sure you just go to, like, different places. Yeah. It's like, because we're not being told to, like, talk to anybody specifically here. It's me, Net. Please watch TV now. That's usually something you don't get asked by anybody in the Pokemon series, and usually it's not required for anything important either, outside of, like, there's been a flood of C-Dot, like, from Gen 3 or something like that. Go back to where this all started. Hang out here for a little while. Get my Pokemon ready. It's not like we'll be fighting anybody, though. That would be crazy to think of. Actually, I didn't want any supplies. I just came here to say hi to my favorite Scotsman. There have been reports of another Pokemon attack on people. Here's the shocking footage of the herring attack sent by one of our viewers. This footage was sent in by a brat at the Under who declined to reveal his identity. I think you have to talk to him again, or listen to TV again here. Nope, that's exactly the same. Yeah, doesn't change. Do I need to go watch TV elsewhere? We'll go to Pyrite, and oh, it's gonna zoom in on my face. Why does it do that? That's so creepy. There we go. Yeah, we watched TV. Apparently we didn't think about actually sending an email back to say, like, what's going on here. Oh, live TV news. Okay, so now we have to go watch TV again. Well, you know what? Let's go into a building we have not gone in before because there is no reason to go into it and watch the TV there. I don't think we ever went inside this building because there was nothing worthwhile. She doesn't give you anything, but there is a TV in here. This is the shocking footage of a Pokemon attack on people. Viewer discretion is advised. It's... A, it's not attacking anyone. B, could we please not get an ass shot? This is not Final Fantasy X. We bring you the story from the Outskirts Stand. It's an exclusive scoop with a video feed. Well, let's go find them and give them a piece of my mind. It's not like they'll leave by the time I get there or anything. And so I don't have to do all that again. Alright. Enough fun with the pirate music. Let's go actually do this thing. And thank you for not zooming into my face again. This is rookie reporter Anka, live on the scene. A shocking new development has emerged. Just when the battle ended, another shady man appeared, and he looked exactly the same as the other man. What's going to happen here? I, Anka, will remain on the scene to bring you this breaking story. Well, we're about to go fight the ultimate imposter here. The resemblance is uncanny, hey? You and me, and I am you. Or you are me, and I am you, and we are all together here. That sounds like a line from a Pokemon theme song, but sure. I can see that you don't understand, but well, there is one thing certain. You're going to battle me. You will give me an egg. Shady Guy Delta would like to battle. I feel like that's a good title for me. I seem like a shady guy. And there's his Togetic, as you can see. Level 20. 20? Like, that is the lowest level Shadow Pokemon in the game, and the second lowest Pokemon you can obtain, period, in the game outside of Plusle, which is given to you, therefore you don't need to catch it at all. Well, while we're dealing with Gyarados, it's only level 20, we might as well try, right? I'm not about to attack that with anything, it's gonna die in one hit, obviously. It's like over 3 times lower than my lowest level Pokemon right now. The only way it's going to take damage without dying is if it takes recoil from itself. Or Gyarados could use Earthquake and kill it. Or no, wait, it's part flying at this point, I hope? Is it? Please? Please? Please be part flying at this point. Good. I'm gonna watch the back feed here for a split second. Okay, Gyarados is male. Cool. Let's make it fall in love so I don't have to deal with that. Did that do any damage at all? It looked like, I mean, I might have just missed it, but it looked like my health bar literally did not move. It's not going to do much, but I'm going to still start damaging this thing because it's doing a crap ton of damage and needs to go away. That's still pretty good for not very effective. Earthquake again. At least they were kind enough to make it a flying type, because otherwise that Earthquake would just absolutely destroy it. I kind of wish he hadn't opened with Togetic, so I could have just gotten it down to Togetic by itself. Because otherwise I'm just going to have to deal with Gyarados and 4 other Pokemon while I'm trying to catch this stupid thing. Confused? Yep, sure enough. I knew it would be something obnoxious. So, since you're going to try to pull that stun on me, because I'm not dealing with it today. Oh, now you're going to get rid of Gyarados. For Manectric, for some reason. Okay, I'm fine with killing Manectric as well. I mostly just threw out Espeon to start sweeping out the rest of his team here, since it's kind of getting to be a pain in the butt. See, that's what you should have thrown out, because then I wouldn't have been able to damage it at all. That would have been the smart thing to do. And at this point, you just pick the wrong target, because I'm probably not going to attack with Espeon for the time being. This is the last Shadow Pokemon, this is the last thing we're catching. I might as well start spamming. I caught Shuckle on the first try, so I still have plenty of Ultra Balls here. There we go. Togetic was caught. That also puts him down another team member. Which is good, since he already took out 2 of mine. 3 of mine, rather. Make that 4. Probably the best option. Get rid of Houndoom easily and water absorb if Melodic tries to do anything like Surf. I don't feel like it's worth the risk. Because otherwise it's just going to get stuck with confusion for as long as possible. It's not going to be able to do anything. If it can survive this, then we probably are okay. Of course, Melodic's going to get to go after this, and it's probably going to target Espeon with a water move like that. Yay! Do I actually get to keep the Togetic if I lose here? Oh, right, because I don't have Water Absorb on this Quagsire. This one has Damp, which prevents It prevents, well, not self-destruction from just it, but just in general. I need to do as much damage as I can. That Melodic needs to go. I'm probably going to lose Espeon this round, but that Melodic needs to get knocked out as fast as I can get it out. And Quillfish won't take much damage from, I'm going to assume Melodic's going to do Hydro Pump again, and that it was targeted at Espeon. Should Crunch have missed or failed or something, I don't know. If I'd healed, maybe, I don't know. Oh, actually, it was something different. So that will paralyze me and do normal damage. That will probably narrowly keep Houndoom alive. Which means I need to do that again, and at this point I need to start reviving my team. Yeah. Well, there goes Quagsire, I'm going to assume. Yep. Because it would have been helpful to have it, so naturally I can't have it. Couldn't have gone for my teammate that was paralyzed, that would have been too easy. Alright, get that out of here. Probably more important to focus on keeping Ampharos alive so that it will actually be capable of knocking out Melodic. Oh, of course they use Double Floor Restores. The only upside to that is they don't get to attack this turn. And of course I just barely don't kill it. So do that again. I could do a full restore, but I don't think Quillfish is going to be that helpful. So since we're at the end of the game here, I'm going to use Max Revives. I don't care. I want speed. I want to be able to outspeed. Even though I can't damage that Houndoom with it, I can try to get it out with Ampharos. Thankfully they targeted who was already paralyzed and at low health rather than my full one. And unfortunately that's going to paralyze me again. And I'll get paralyzed by Synchronize. I make it sound like Dragon Breath is a guaranteed paralysis. It's not. It's just because it's me. Let me check and see what the percentage is to paralyze. %. Yeah, that seems about right. 30% on normal people, 100% on me, because that's how it works. Alright, that needs to go. that will be for inevitably when Houndoom manages to pull off some crazy Super 40 chess move of knocking out somebody. Like that. If he could just, like, stop one-shotting everybody or managing to get a status effect to prevent me from attacking, then I'd be able to get him out. I think at this point he's pretty much done, though. I had to be cheap and use items, but he also was cheap and used items, so I don't feel bad about it. Forgot he had that. I mean, at this point, we gotta get that Houndoom out of there. I feel like between Thunderbolt and Surf, that should be enough to get him. And I think Armaldo is his last one, actually, this time. Now that it's down to 2v1, I can easily beat him. He didn't even have the highest level team we've seen. The guy in the under had a stronger team level-wise. This guy just happened to get way luckier with, like, getting criticals, getting paralysis with Dragon Breath and using double 4 restores, managing to one-shot everything. But he's not the freaking protagonist, he's just the ultimate imposter. Also, that means you get to see what your defeat animation looks like, because you never get to see it in-game. This is what it looks like. And he gives you next to nothing for money, at least in terms of what we've been seeing. And as it turns out, his name is Fane. Yeah, he's the master of disguise. As in, he's, you know, feigning, you know, yeah. You get the joke. How do you like the job I did? Your reputation's totally trashed. Yeah, except for the fact that the cameras now realize that that guy was an imposter. The perpetrator of the attacks wasn't this trainer, but an imposter. This is a major scoop. It's a huge break in the story. It also means that it's painfully obvious that his trick of trying to ruin your reputation now means it's obvious and everybody on TV saw it. Yeah, maybe you should have kept your disguise up and ran off. Oh well, too late now. I wonder if this guy will say anything now that you've beaten that guy, and he's like, oh, it was an imposter. Say on TV, I owe you an apology. Yep, sure enough, I'm sorry that I blamed you for that Pokemon trouble. To show you my apology sincere, I'll run around the fountain until you tell me to stop. I'm never going to tell you to do that. You keep going forever and ever. Never ever quit, man. Never give up, never surrender. So, with that, we have collected... I don't know if it healed me automatically after that or not, but I'm going to do it anyway because my team deserves it. They deserve it. They earned that. They had to fight hard for it. The game tried to say no, and I said yes. So they have earned their heal, even if it did bring them back to full. But with that, we have now collected every single Shadow Pokemon in the game. All 48 of them. Now, if you want to get the additional Pokemon that you can pick up in this game, outside of, you know, like trading from Ruby Sapphire, you do need to purify them all as well. I am very quickly going to put just the 2 I've got in the front here, in there, and take these 2 out. And I'm actually going to check on... the fullest of Shadow Pokemon and see how much that Shuckle takes to purify. I'm going to assume, being level 20, that the... Yeah, I want to see the actual Pokemon. Thanks. There we go. If you check Bulbapedia, you can see the heart gauge and how long it takes for it to lower. It kind of just gives you a number. Like Makuhita's 3,000, Sudowoodo's 10,000. To put it in perspective, Tyranitar, the one that takes the longest amount of time, is 20,000. Shuckle is 7,000 and Togetic is 5,000. Meaning, as you could probably expect, it would take more time to purify the Shuckle than it would the Togetic. And as I mentioned previously, nature, which unfortunately you can only see after getting the bar down by 2 points, will also determine what works the most effectively on purifying a Shadow Pokemon. That can be one of 5 things, which is either walking around with it, and all these things will help lower the gauge, but the nature will determine which are more effective than others. You can walk around with it, as I am doing right now with it in your party. You can give it massages with the cologne case. You can send it out in battle. You can call it in battle whenever it's in hyper mode. And lastly, you can give it to the daycare lady. And while you're walking around, it can get its heart gauge lowered that way. Oh, did I not deposit the Time Flute? Oh no, I have 2 Time Flutes. Okay, well, let's take them both and just use them both. They don't serve any other purpose. They can't even be sold. Cool. I was gonna say I could show the little, the trick for purifying that I did. And again, I've showed this off before, but I'll go ahead and explain it one other time here. There are a couple spots in the game where you can just walk into the wall like this and kind of glitch around, and this does count as walking. So what you can do is, if you stand still and then unplug your controller, and then hold up on your controller when you plug it in, it thinks that while you're holding up that you're in the neutral position, so when you let go, it will keep having you walk down, and you can just do this, leave the game on for however long you want, and then come back later, and your Pokemon's heart gauges will be lowered. If you've got the money to burn, you can also use the clone case, buy a bunch of Joy, Excite, or Vivid scents, Vivid's being the most powerful but the most expensive, and lower the heart gauges that way. That one is particularly effective for Pokemon that like having the massages, and that's one of the best way for their nature to lower the heart gauge. But again, you can't know that until you've already lowered the heart gauge a fair bit. But instead, what we will do is be a cheap little boy and use the Time Flute on both of them. Because in case you missed it, the Time Flute will completely lower it will completely unlock their heart. It doesn't matter what their heart gauge is at. Whatever you pick, you can just use it, and then you're good, and it gets purified. Doesn't matter if the heart gauge is about to unlock, if it's totally full, or if it's anywhere in between. Though if it's about to unlock, you probably don't want to waste the Time Flute. For the record, while we're going through this, Tyranitar is... Yes, okay, making sure. If you're going to use the Time Flutes, the Pokemon that have the longest time to get rid of the heart gauge, in order from most to least, is Tyranitar is the highest with 20,000, Metagross is the second highest with 15,000, and then it is a tie between Skarmory and the 3 legendary dogs, Raikou, Suicune, and Entei. And they all have 13,000, so pick any one of those, whichever you prefer. You're probably picking Raikou if you manage to catch them all in order, because Raikou would be the last one of those 3 you'd have. Therefore, if you're just like walking around with them in your party or using them, the heart gauge is probably already a little bit lower on the other 2, but take your pick between any of those legendary dogs and Skarmory if you do want to do it that way. But with that, we have purified all 48 of the Shadow Pokemon in this game and collected them as well. Now, oops, let's get around this guy. We'll of course put those in storage and save. Do they have any items? No. Oops, not item. I will say, for as much as I give Togekiss crap for being the lowest level, or Togetic, if you trade this over and get into a Togekiss, it can actually be really, really powerful. It's just, like, at this point, you don't need it anymore. Even if you got this earlier, it would still only be level 20. It would be behind your team. Unless it was, like, the very first Pokemon you got instead of Makuhita, it probably isn't going to serve you much good. So there you go. That is the full list. A full box worth of Pokemon, about half a box full, or exactly half a box full, and then these 6 that are on my team. And that is every obtainable Pokemon in the game outside of Jirachi and Celebi. But I've actually just told a lie. A dirty, dirty lie. I will probably show this at another date, not tonight, because it's going to take, as we like to say in the business, forever. And ever and ever and ever. But I will show off how to do it. If you go back to the title screen, or in my case, hit the reset button, and make sure to save your game, obviously. If you have snagged every single Shadow Pokemon in the story mode and purified all of them, all 48, you should have 48 for both of those numbers, it's not going to include your Umbreon, your Espeon, or the Plusle given to you because you didn't have to purify those. But if you've done all of that, as you probably already know, if you've owned the game, or, you know, you've seen it elsewhere, maybe you didn't know this, there is also a battle mode to the game rather than the story mode. And you can go to Colosseum Battle. Going inside here, you can do solo or gang battle. Gang battle is like actually hooking up GBAs and playing against your friends. In solo battle, you can do a Colosseum battle. You can register your Pokemon, which we're going to go ahead and do now. If you're going to get this gift, you have to register with your Colosseum Pokemon. You cannot use your GBA Pokemon with the game pack. You can, however, transfer your Pokemon from the GBA to the Colosseum mode. You can do that by going downstairs in any Pokemon Center in any of the actual story mode areas and transferring them into Pokemon Colosseum and then using them on your team, but you cannot do it like this. It will take your team, whatever you've got like on your actual character, and it will register them for you. So with that registered, you can do Colosseum Battle or Mount Battle versus 100 or continue one of those challenges. You can also go to the Poke Coupon Exchange, and it's the exact same thing that you would see in Mount Battle. So you can pick up any of these. For the record, you've got Psychic, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, and Double Team. You've got a couple berries that are actually at this point in the series where this was the only way to get them, and they're very expensive, as you can tell. The leftovers item, Mental Herb, I'm not going to explain what these does since it just tells you right here. Focus Band, White Herb, Quick Claw, which I already have one of those, Bright Powder, and King's Rock, and Scope Lens. Oh, and Choice Band, I forgot that one was there, but I'm not a big fan on Choice Band. I'm going to buy one of each of the TMs just to have them. Also, they're not near as expensive as doing everything else is. I did already buy Flamethrower once, but now I have it again. Oh, I don't have points, but it's just Double Team, so who cares? And you can transfer those items over to your memory card, and then when you load up the game, you'll of course have them. But again, you could just go to Mount Battle in your actual file and do it that way. So, what you have to do, and again, I will probably do this off screen at some point, and maybe like the next stream I do, I'll have it like loaded up and just show like the last battle. I might go ahead and show a little bit of it now, but I'm not gonna do it tonight. What you have to do is you have to clear this Mount Battle Trainer Challenge and go through all 100 floors. You cannot stop playing, and you cannot change your team. You have to keep whatever team you have from start to finish. You can pick single battle or double. This actually does not matter. You can do single or double battle, whichever you prefer. This does play like an actual Colosseum match from the Pokemon stadiums of old. So if it's a single battle, you'll see your team of 6, you'll see your opponent's team of 6, and you can pick 3. With double battle, you'll pick 4. You've been doing double battles the whole game, so if you want to do single, I don't think anybody would blame you for that. I'm just going to double to show it off. And then, of course, it looks like the Mount Battle that it was before. You can see your team. You can halt the challenge if you want to. I'm only going to show one of these. But just to show what it looks like. So it does look like the Colosseum's old. You can see your team and his. So he's got a Poochyena, Pineco, a Swinub, a Slack Off, a Miror, and a Sandshrew. It will also show you them here. So he's going to pick his team. Go ahead and let him do that. He's all good to go. And so now you can kind of get an idea of what types they have and what might be effective against it. As you notice, his team is all conveniently level 68, as is mine, save for Reinhardt, but they're all pretty close level together, which I did do on purpose. You will always fight their teams being at level 50 if you are at level 50 or below. If you are higher than level 50 on any Pokemon on your team, their teams are going to take the highest level Pokemon that you have on that team, and that's what level they will be. So if you were unfortunate enough to just use 2 or 3 Pokemon and they're at like level 75 and then the other half of your team is like level 40, then you're kind of in trouble because their team is going to be all level 75s and no level 40s. So if the level thing is well and truly a problem for you, then keep your team as level as you possibly can. I'm not sure if you get experience during this or not, so I guess we'll find out. Let's see. He's actually got a pretty balanced team here. He's got 2 things weak to fire, so I'm going to send out Typhlosion with a Pineco and the Swinub. I don't have any fighting moves, which is unfortunate because Slackoth and Poochyena would both be weak to that. I'm going to send out Quagsire to deal with Sandshrew, and he won't take damage for Miror. Espeon seems like a good fit here because there's nothing it's too terribly weak to other than not being able to attack Poochyena. And that would leave either Ampharos, Quilava, or Reinhardt, and I think for that I'm just going to take Ampharos. Rich Boy Brought would like to battle. So yeah, he will choose, he'll send out the first 2 that he chose, you'll send out the first 2 that you chose, as you could probably guess. There are a couple things to make note of here, however. Is unlike the normal mount battle, where you're just, you know, going through the trainers and fighting them as you do, you do have continues during this. Whereas in normal mount battle, if you lose, you're just, you know, you're out, you're done, you lose, you get nothing, good day, sir. However, in here, like I said, you get continues. You only get the... I don't remember how you get the Poke Coupons. I'll find that out whenever I'm doing this off-screen, obviously. And thankfully, all of his stuff is unevolved, even though normally it would absolutely be evolved into Piloswine and Sandslash, so this isn't too terribly difficult. But you do have a limited amount of continues. If you lose all those continues, your challenge is obviously over. However, you can get additional continues, from what I've been told. I'm about to find out. I don't think I've ever actually done this challenge before, so this will be a new experience for me. If you can manage to eliminate a trainer and not lose any of your Pokemon in that round, you get an additional continue. I think. I could be wrong there. He lost all of his. I didn't even take damage. A perfect win. Congratulations, you've earned an extra continue. You can take damage on your Pokemon, you just can't lose any of your Pokemon. If even one gets knocked out, you're done. After you beat them, they just disappear off the map. You continue on your challenge. No, I don't want to suspend my game. I wanted to go on. That was weird. I don't know why it asked me to do that. I figured it was asking if I wanted to go on. So yes, you have to knock out every single trainer all in a row. And this isn't particularly difficult. Like, this isn't going to get hard until, like, even level-wise, just because, you know, they're not evolved and you kind of get the idea of how to do this. Let's see here. Fire to deal with 2 of them. Like, so you want to have good type coverage here, but outside of that, you can pretty much do whatever else you want. So it's not particularly difficult. By the time you get to the point where they might start challenging you, you're going to have a boatload of continues. You're going to have, like, the better part of 60 continues, probably. So you're totally fine on that front. You know, if you make a mistake, if they have certain types and then their, you know, their attacks don't match up, if you're expecting, you know, oh, I can deal with this with ground, and all of a sudden they've got grass moves coming out of their Pokemon that you were like, but they were electric, what the heck? you know, there's ways to get around it by just using those continues. So if you do get jumped by something out of nowhere, by the time it happens, you're going to be more than prepared for it. As you can see too, because these Pokemon aren't evolved, they don't have a lot of health. That Bayonet only had, or that Duskull only had like just slightly over 100 health. This Ralts has slightly over 100 health. And you still keep all your stats because you're not getting lower back down to a certain thing. So I'm still hitting, for two of my Pokemon, very high 100s. For everybody else, very like low 200s. And so as a result, stat-wise, they're just going to completely overpower everything, despite being the same level. They're like, their team just can't compete with yours. You know, if you've got special sweepers, unless it's a type disadvantage, you're just going to mow down everything that's in your way. Even with normal hits, you're probably going to mow down everything in your way. And so, obviously, I'm not getting any experience from this, so this will keep my team on level with each other. I won't have to switch around. And, you know, like, make sure to focus on using certain ones. I kind of miss the gunshot noises, the little beer noise from whenever you knock somebody out, but that is the idea of how that works. So, I'm going to do that off screen, and then next time I stream anything, I will show that at the beginning. Additionally, I might just dedicate a stream to it. Maybe if I have somebody over, we'll just like talk while I do this, because this is absolutely a test of patience. Like, you saw 2 battles. That was 2% of what I have to do. Like, they will get harder, yes, but that would take a really, really, really long time, and I would like more hours in the night to do that. And even though it is a Saturday and people, you know, will have more time to watch that, we're just going to save that for a completely different stream if I decide to do it. And I probably will, but I would prefer to have somebody here with me and just make it its own separate video. So if you're watching this on YouTube in the future and you want to watch that through, great. If you were looking for more about the story mode of Colosseum, we're basically, for all intents and purposes, done. If you want to see the reward for that, which it is a Pokemon, just look for the next video if it's up and just go to the end of the video. You will probably see some pretty funny moments. I've seen a couple funny moments from other people that have done this. Somebody sent out a Shedinja and used like a move to raise its stats and then confused itself, and then it killed itself with the confusion. Just a bunch of like really silly things like that. But for the time being, I'm not going to do that. I might change up my movesets and get a little bit more type diverse in there. I wouldn't mind having Iron Tail, Brick Break, and well, maybe a grass move in there somewhere. Iron Tail, Brick Break, and Ice Beam were the 3 I was thinking of, but just like switching things up, because I'm not going to be using stuff like Smoke Screen. Like, I want stuff to be either damaging or like status moves I would actually use, not stuff for snagging Shadow Pokemon, because now I have no need to. So, with that being said, when it comes to the main story of Colosseum, yeah, we're done. That's everything in the game, outside of seeing that one little hidden thing. Again, I will do that at some point. It's just not going to be tonight. And again, I probably want somebody over, somebody commentating with me, just so it wouldn't be completely and utterly dull. We'll talk about other stuff, we'll do other stuff, you know, just something in there. So for the time being, let's go find a raid target. One other thing that I am going to do while, I'm going to close that window. One other thing I'm going to do while we're in between this game and whatever I decide to stream next is, I am going to get working on how to set up doing the double stream of Fire Red and Leaf Green. So I'll be working on that in the meantime and get a little bit of an idea of how I want to do that. So we'll have some stuff going on in the background. Maybe I'll have a day where I show that off, kind of just like see how it looks on stream. We'll have some stuff. I'll make my voice echo because the sound was turned on for no reason. That's always helpful. Let's see. Who all is playing stuff? There's a fair bit of variety here, but I was watching him play Pokemon Sapphire earlier, which he's not doing now. He's actually playing Fortune Street. But I was watching him play. I turned that off as I left. Why is it back on? Get out of here. There we go. I was going to do a little contest tonight, however, that did end up rolling out because things went faster than I expected because I thought I only had one time flute left, so I do apologize on that. We'll probably just do like a goof-off stream that's going to go over that, doing like little contests like that, but for the time being, I'm not going to worry about it. We'll let you guys get some sleep. I'll get to do some Overwatch tonight with friends, which has been a long time since I've gotten to do that. But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time when I show the end of what that looks like for Colosseum. In the meantime, though, enjoy PS2 Fortune Street, which I've not seen before.